Travel kind of has a funny way of balancing life out for you. You start by having 4 great days in the sunshine, spending times with friends in Phuket, and then reality starts to bite in. I'm chuckling there. If you maybe can't tell from my voice, I'm feeling a little hoarse. So today is Monday the 9th of February, and I had planned in my head that I would take you on a walk and talk video, a bit like the early days of this channel when I used to do the canal walks, but it was going to be through a mall which is just outside our apartment block. But honestly, I haven't got the energy. I'm saying this with a blistering sore head and a cold that's kicked in. So let me give you a little bit of an update. We flew to Phuket last week on Tuesday, and today is now the following Monday, and we're back in KL in our original apartment now. We flew out on the Tuesday, and about 12 hours before we were due to leave, I started to feel a little bit unwell, bit of a head cold, throat infection. You know, I'm in the swimming pool, I've been in the gym, I've dropped a bit of weight, and I've been adjusting my diet. So I think my body has just been kind of adjusting, plus mixed with the heat and who knows what else, I started to become a bit unwell. Yvonne, however, was feeling fine. So we made the trip knowing, look, I'll just kind of manage this. And for the 4 days in Phuket, life was okay, life was manageable, had a great time. You know, I'm not delivering this like, oh, woe is me, just the reality. So we had 4 great days catching up with our friends. You know, I've said this before, but filling our cup up with just good vibes from seeing familiar faces, our pals that we'd stayed with in Glasgow before we left the UK, and seeing them again. They were on a planned 2-week holiday into Phuket, a family holiday with family and their siblings, so we got to spend some time with them. Really enjoyable few days, and the sunshine, the massages, everything was great, and the food. And we spent the last day with them, which was Friday evening, with Yvonne and I due to fly back to KL on Saturday, super short stay, so Tuesday to Saturday. And so on Friday afternoon, we spent a couple of hours just down on Kata Beach, just watching the sea roll in, people enjoying themselves. We found a beautiful little bar at the edge of the kind of cliff face, facing out onto the beach. And we sat there for a couple of hours, enjoyed a drink, and we played cards in the shade, sitting playing a game of cards. And then we decided, right, we'll part ways. They're going for an evening out, and Yvonne and I would get an early night and get ready to leave the following day. Now on Saturday, we were due to depart the apartment that we'd booked at 12 noon, and I booked a return taxi to take us to the airport, which is about an hour's travel. And it was also going to come for us at 12. And then the flight wasn't until 7 p.m. So we knew we were going to have some time in the airport. So Friday evening, we get back to the apartment, maybe about 6 o'clock. And at this point, we'd only eaten local Thai food. I'd been settling into having these kind of Thai beef salad dishes because I'm trying not to eat too many carbs. And the food was great, really, really good. And here comes the blunder in all of this, right? Here comes the mistake that I made. I'm sitting in the room with Yvonne and I'm hungry, and I said, let's order some food to the room. And so I ordered a Grab delivery from the local KFC, like, right? I haven't eaten any fatty stuff in almost a month. No takeaway dinners, nothing unhealthy, and then kicks in the hunger demon in my head. It's like, get some fast food. The takeaway, the delivery comes and it's like fried chicken, and we have that. And by about 12 o'clock at night, I am seriously unwell, just vomiting, coming out of all ends, right? My dad would jokingly say, essing through the eye of a needle was probably the best way to describe it. Couldn't keep any liquids in, take a sip of water, throw it up, coming out, like just from about midnight till pretty much 12 noon the next day, it was relentless. And at that point, Yvonne also starts to get the same head cold that I've probably been displaying the symptoms of for the last few days. And I was just in the room sweating, absolutely sweating and throwing up. And now we've got to go to the airport in the sweltering heat. So it was a real reality check at the end of 4 super enjoyable days. And I think just a combination of a mixture of now at this point dehydration, and also I think given everything that's been going on with Yvonne's job and also the insurance battle and everything else, and then seeing friends, like a massive adrenaline dump. So my body just kind of shutting down, and Yvonne's as well. I think just the stress of everything just really catching up with us. It's funny how your body just does that at times, right? I mean, I'll tell you, seeing friends, right, in another country. Now, our pals that were with us that I showed in the last video, we've been on holiday many times together, all over the world. America, Mexico, across Europe, Ibiza. We've done a lot of things together. Those guys were in our wedding video. They were guests of ours. We've done a lot of things together. And seeing them when we've been away from home, do you know how I would describe it, right? I love TV shows like Big Brother, right? When Big Brother came on, was it Channel 4 at the beginning, then Channel 5, and then it moved around? There was always an episode when they would bring in like family members to see the house residents, right? And they would always be like, oh, and you're like, how can you be so emotional? You've only been in the house for like 4 weeks or something, right? It was like that. It was kind of like that, where you would see somebody for a few days and then it's over, and you're like, you don't know when you'll see each other again. And it was kind of like that. So it was a lot of emotion driven into it all, you know, with us being away from home and switching up our lives and everything that went into that, and then seeing friendly faces in another country and stirs all the thoughts. So I think all of that kind of added to it. So the taxi comes for us, and then it's time to head to the airport, and I'm in like a shaky, not quite sure how I'm going to manage in this taxi for an hour. The taxi becomes 2 hours because it's a Saturday afternoon travelling through Phuket to get to the airport. And we then get to the airport. The flight's supposed to be at 7, which then becomes 9:30. AirAsia, always delayed. And we eventually get back into Kuala Lumpur for about midnight. With the time difference, we get back to this apartment for about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and all we can do is try and hydrate. So the last food that I had was Friday night of that KFC, and it's now Monday, and I haven't eaten since, other than a couple of electrolytes. And Yvonne's lying in the bed. She's actually just there next to me, because she's got the full head cold now, everything running out of her face. She doesn't have the stomach bug, so whatever it was that hit me didn't hit any of the others, although our pal, so it wasn't any of the Thai food we had. It was nothing like that. Whether it was just something with me, who knows? Yvonne's been fine, ate the KFC, so who knows, right? But you just get hit with this wall of illness. So I just wanted to make a video to kind of chat about the realities of, like, you know, it's not all Instagram reels and beaches and sunshine. There's life that sits behind all of this, and you have to kind of be prepared for it. So when we arrived back to KL, that was really Saturday into Sunday morning. And Sunday we had planned to go to a restaurant to try a roast beef dinner that we'd heard about, that's run by a British group of chefs that we'd heard is absolutely incredible. And there was just no way, absolutely no way I could have eaten anything. My belly just, not there. So we cancelled that, and that was kind of Sunday was written off with us just sitting watching TV, and it's Monday now, and I thought I'll take you on a walk through the mall, let you see this mall that's next to our apartment, what it's like. It's very liminal spaces during the week, and at the weekends it's crazy busy. It's bizarre how it goes from like up and down, the yin and yang of life, right? Go away for 4 days and then fall deeply ill at the end of it all, the yin and yang, the light and the dark. I was going to take you on that walk through that mall, but honestly I couldn't even go out of this room. I don't have the energy. Yvonne's just popped to the shops, got me some extra electrolytes, and I'm looking up at the shelves here. Some apples, some lemons, some oranges, and a few plain crackers just to try and put the lightest thing into my stomach that I can deal with for now until recovery comes, which will probably just be a day or so. So today's video was just to share a little bit of that with you, that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes there's a bit of rain mixed in with all this travel stuff. And in the next video in a couple of days time, I'll do a roundup of this apartment. I've said a couple of times, but this is the cheapest location we have managed to find, and I'll share with you in the next video exactly what the complex looks like, where we are, how much it cost for a month's stay, and hopefully I'll be fit enough to walk around this place and make that video for you. Now, in the last of all of this, just one last point. Now, if you want to dive into the comments below and leave us well wishes, I will greatly take them. I will appreciate some positive spirit in the comments. We are okay, so no need to worry about us. But yeah, it's just the waves of like life, right? Now, in one last point, I'll close on this. A very good friend of Yvonne and I's father passed away a couple of days ago, and it once again just brings home that kind of real reality check. You know, when that happens, it brings back a lot of thoughts and memories for me over this be coming up for 2 years in May, which feels like wild. And it was funny because on the timing of all of that, the last few days, I've shared with you about my dad's gas bill and my electricity bill and the woes that I'm going through with that. Well, the lawyer that was handling everything for us as a family estate dropped me an email just as I'd arrived in Phuket to tell me that there had been a council tax bill come in for my dad's house. Just honestly blows my mind. And luckily the lawyer at the time had the sense to withhold a little bit of money from my dad's house sale and various bits from me, my brother, my sister, and my brother's daughter, my niece, who were the benefactors of my dad's money. And the lawyer just dropped me a note to say the council tax bill for when my dad had passed, the house being empty, was £1,000. Like, even in death, it's not free, is it? Even in death, still a bill, even after you're gone. And luckily the lawyer had held back £1,500, and so she was just dropping me a note to say that it would be a little bit of money for me, my brother and sister. Well, like 90 quid each or something. But even nearly 2 years later, you still get a little bit of a hand. And then I got a message from my pal saying her father had passed away, and I thought, oof, yeah, that brings that all home again, doesn't it? Right, not to finish that off on a dreary tone, but I know she watches these, so sending our deepest condolences. Right, we will be back in the next one. Room tour, little look around, hopefully back on the mend for the two of us, feeling healthy and still feeling super positive after those last 4 days. Sunshine and everything in Thailand was great, and funnily enough, when we arrived back into the airport in KL, super late as it was pissing it down with rain, and it was kind of like arriving in Glasgow when we looked outside, although when the door of the plane opened up, the heat just hit you and it was like, oh yeah, well, this is Kuala Lumpur. Not Glasgow, freezing cold. That was very different. One last thing, right? There was a flight leaving just before our flight in the airport, and it was going to Russia, And I'll tell you this, the Ruskies do not give an F about when a flight takes off. They show up when they're ready to show up. The flight was due to leave at 8 o'clock and it was already delayed, and people were still rocking up, still walking right to the gate at 20 past 8, half past 8, and Yvonne and I were standing because our flight was going to go from the same gate. We called them both at the same time and then announced that our flight wasn't going to depart till 9:40, having been originally planned at like 10 past 7. So we were at the gate and we were just watching the Russians, right? And they're all dressed in shorts and t-shirt going back to Russia. Now, I don't know the weather climate in Russia all year round, but it's February. And I mean, they're just made of different stuff, the Russians, aren't they? They're just made of different stuff. And with zero care, just all wandering up, carrier bags and all. It was quite... You ever play that game at the airport where you like try and guess the nationality of like people passing by? You have a look at kind of like, can you figure out where they're from? Yvonne and I we do love a bit of airport people watching. So that was our people watching whilst we were sitting there waiting on the plane. And see, when a flight is delayed, right? When you don't kind of have anywhere to be, I mean, other than you want to get home and get to your bed, we're not feeling well, it gives you a whole different kind of mindset. Like getting to the airport at like 2 in the afternoon, knowing the flight's not going to be till 7 is like, who cares? We'll just sit around. We'll just, watch a movie on our laptops or listen to some music or whatever else. Most of that time was me keeping an eye on where the nearest toilet was, to be honest. But right, that's enough detail. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for checking this out, folks. See you later.